Ngiyafiwa nabasebayeta futhi abokusibulala. Ngiyafiwa sekunebangani abafile abayibo cameraman ekufana nami. Ngibhace nabayeta abataku babaningi laba. Nabayeta babaningi etibhamu naba. Yeta ngeni babona sabakuvula icamera ngoba nami ngibhacile la. Ya ngibhacile bangani. Tinzawethi iningi te government setiyasha. Nayi lenye ngishuthele ekudzini la. Ya sekunebangani abafile bangani nami ngisabaleka. Ngisabaleka ethi ngiyenya lo ukukhuluma kakhulu athi mina ngishutha wrong ngashuthela kufa bantu balapha la bashaya ngeraba bullet straight ya base kudubuliwe 6 labanye ngisengabatla badubuliwile labanye babalekile bangani bangene emahlathini bantu abancane abogogo babalekile bangene ngehlathi bangene South Africa bavuya ifam shavuye shinyingi ilesha la strateni ya bantu babalekile bangani ngiyaqoza wengishuthele ebunyameni nami iflash angeke ngikhone kuyivula ya iflash angeke ngikhone kuyivula bangani ku wrong ya seyimbi straight esibona to kuma film namhla sengibone live madoda namasoja abulala kuba simasoja se Rwanda ya lathumele igovernment ase Mozambique na khona la eMozambique ya nativa spam Native spam ke. That's why things my daughter. Native.
Mashane Politically Incorrect. This is going to be a short one from myself. I just want you to watch. I've been trying, man, to what kind of content can I bring out from Mozambique. It's a very difficult time. I grew up at the time when Mozambique was in a civil war for the longest time, to an extent that the word refugee almost interchangeably called Mozambicans as Lipoti, meaning that they're refugees. And so I visited Mozambique. I loved Mozambique. It came at a time that was a very difficult. These elections came at a time that I thought I'm going to go there again to go and enjoy living for holidays in Mozambique. It didn't happen. So something as minute as the Western wants us to know that they ignored the genocide in Rwanda. They want to ignore the genocide happening now in Mozambique. Is it even a genocide? Why is the media being blocked to go there? I did not want to go there as a media. I wanted to go there as a traveler from a neighboring country. I just want people who would have watched this give us perspective. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share what other political players have regarded Mozambique as. As an African, I do not want it to deviate from the dream of Samora Machel. I do not want it to go back to the difficult 90s, the difficult 80s. It was very difficult. Just when Mozambique starts to be alive, the harbors, the gases, international companies coming there. I mean, the north side is a mess because of the gas. And we're thinking Mozambique is coming back, or is it even too early? Machine Politically Incorrect. I want you to listen to stories coming out of Mozambique after these elections. You'd realize I stayed away from the politics of what is happening because I want others to tell us what is happening. I'm going to take all perspective. I want you to listen to what do you think is happening in Mozambique. What are the chances of Mozambique coming back? Because this could start as if it's a civil unrest, and it continues. Before we know it, body bags have piled up. mass graves, and then we would have lost a strategic partner in SADC. Mozambique plays a very critical role in the south side of Africa. Let's not take it for granted. And by the way, SADC leaders, if they are speaking, their silence is very quiet while they are speaking, because we have not heard anything that is concrete. The N4 Libombo border post is locked, gridlocked. And I'm speaking now, this is December 2024. Maputo is supposed to be getting an influx of foreign tourism, but it's not. And the impact on the people, it's fierce. Machine politically correct. Let's listen to what people have said and let's unpack it. Thank you very much.
Bazonya lawa.
They are here to refresh because this is a stream that comes from a dam at a farm near the N4, and they're saying that they've got no option but to come here and freshen up. They bring their soaps, their toothpaste, their face clothes so that they can at least clean themselves up in the ground. If you can tell us about the current situation, for how long have you been here and how are you affected by those protests in Mozambique?
We have been here from Sunday, the others from Saturday. Our problem is that situation in Mozambique. We cannot cross the border. In fact, if we can have a truck stop that can accommodate all of us so that we can have this possibility of having showers and everything.
So now you find yourself here using the stream to sort of clean up?
Same like as you said, we are likely to be next to that stream because others are staying there. We have to have fresh water, and the water in Commodity Board is not good. You gotta buy everything. Food is a challenge. Everything you gotta buy daily.
And how is the crime? Because we've heard quite a number of stories about truck drivers being attacked while waiting on the N4 to cross into Mozambique.
That is the heavy problem we are facing. Criminals are attacking us. They pull the trailer bricks, they stop the truck, they attack us, take everything in the truck and your money too. So that is bad. The situation is bad, very, very bad about criminals. Diesel, it's been stolen, batteries have been stolen, and when those things happen, a company is charging us. You gotta pay for it. You are the driver in the midday, during the night you are a security guard.
The Minister of Transport was here yesterday. I'm not sure if you've heard about that visit. I want to know, what do you make of it? And if you were given a chance to sort of voice out your concern, what would you say are some of the most important needs from your side?
The most important needs is only to have a safe place, truck stop, where they can accommodate all the trucks that are going to Mozambique. That's all.
Did you have a chance to listen to what the minister said? She said that they are trying by all means to bring water, working with other entities to ensure that you've got some of those basic necessities.
Yeah, but I didn't be lucky to hear him. I wasn't there yesterday. All I did, I just wanted to check.
This province in the north of Mozambique, Cabo, is currently facing something very similar to what's happening in Gaza, in Israel. Cabo is very rich in gas. It also has ivory, it has coal, it has titanium, to name a few. Over 1.3 million citizens have been displaced. Billions were invested in Mozambique after this discovery in 2010. And then American companies, the French company Total, and another company from Italy, the three of them, they go in, they're in Pemba, quickly, now there are unrest within the region. Guys, ever notice how each and every region in Africa that has natural resources where the Westerners are interested in, there's always an unrest, number one. There's always these terrorist groups, secondly, and they're always children-led. Who's funding them? Who's funding them? Because in Mozambique right now, they call the Al-Shabaabs. But in Somalia, they also are Al-Shabaab. I mean, you can't tell me that it's one organization that is moving all across down Africa. Even in Nigeria, there's a similar a group, and they're even calling it ISIS at this point. But who's funding them? And why is it that it's the same recipe every single time? Crazy. There's a natural gas that is found, they come in, and then there are these unrests, and then they bring in the aid as well. There's no way one of the poorest provinces in Mozambique, out of the blue, now can finance an entire terrorist army. Do you understand? Where do they get the muscle from? Where do they get all of these resources from? But fast forward now, because there's such an unrest, the EU is the one that is now funding Rwanda to come and bring troops to Mozambique to come and try and salvage whatever is happening there. Icon. And again, this is the same thing that happens in Somalia. It's the same thing that's happening with the M23 in Congo. It's the same thing that is happening in Mali. Everywhere you go where there are natural resources and the West is interested in those natural resources, best believe me, and the recipe is one. I think that's why I am so taken aback, and I want to emphasize on the fact that we are experiencing a similar thing that is created by the same people to do the same thing to all of us. Like I said before, it's happening in Israel, it's happening in Mozambique, and it's not spoken about. Rwanda, for such a small country with such a small population in comparison to Congo and Mozambique, is quite busy. I think we should keep an eye on Rwanda because something's got to give. And they keep collecting from IMF. They keep collecting from the EU. They keep collecting from Africa.
President from United States, Donald Trump, please, we need your help in Mozambique. Many people die. The military killed kids, killed people. We need your help. Please help Mozambique. We cry, much blood on the street. Please, we need your help. We need your help. Please, we need your help. Please, we need your help. Help Mozambique. Help Mozambique.
Hayi, tihloba kalaliwa. Bona moto tikuningi so kalaliwa. Ekasha abe kunempi kufiwile vehlo botami. Ngize ngiqambele manga. Sibonga thina esaphephile mara sikaphephile kahle ngoba namhla kusiyoba njani asathi. Namhla sikuyoba njani asathi. Imoto tonke bethekutheni nembi abadvumela ukuthi ifike. That's why yabo sekugqole njani etingeni wakho. Kuyafiwa madoda. Sesiluze amasoja amaningi ethu lasishila itoto. Basesebaningi vele abantu. Basesebaningi. Sitobonga kona masengidlulile ukasathi usithatha survive isikhathi esinganani. Ngoba sebasidubula nasemakhaya, seliwe nasemakhaya sadubuliwa njena liningi kulaliwe emahlathini ngalala abafohla khona abantu labalale khona abantu. Kubaleka nemasoja imbala. Beku-wrong madoda, beku-wrong. Abantu abancane bonke balale emahlathini namuhle bakhaya bakalali ngikhani babuyetela ngalekuseni.
Isso é que é polícia. Isso é que é polícia. Isso é que é polícia. Isso é... Não entendi nada. Não dá para saber o que estamos a dizer. Isso é que é polícia. Isso é que é polícia. Isso é que é polícia. Yes. Continua. Continua! Continua!
Não vai ser um ladrão que vai nos parar.
Yeah.
Não vai ser um mercenário só capacitado para matar que vai nos parar. Não vai ser um polícia que pagou dinheiro para ser polícia que vai nos parar.
Rwanda ser expulso de Babone. Rwanda ser expulso de Babone, Rwanda. Rwanda ser expulso de Babone. Não queremos militares ruandeses no nosso país. Isso aqui é Moçambique, não é Rwanda. Ruandeses fora. São os brancos aqui que não conhecemos. Vini valali. Isso que estava zongando nesse mundo ali. Aí isso que estava China com a TV lá. Abaruandeses. Abaruandeses. TV lá. Abaruandeses mamuca. Diretamente de Babona, a população está a explorar os ruandeses.
Mr. Paul Kagame, President of Rwanda, please remove your military soldiers in our country, Mozambique. We don't need them here. Because they are killing childs, innocent. Why you send them here? We don't need them here. We don't need your help. Remove your soldiers. We are fighting for our rights. Then you bring your people to come here and kill our child. Why? What's wrong with you? Where's your brain now? Hili susa masoja yako ngathi uboye nyenyenza lani. Tirara sa tua tropa daqui. Não precisamos da tua tropa nessa aqui.
Agora mukaphanya maloja no sejo. A gente, nós todos também queremos estar lá com você. Sim. Vamos marchar. Sim. Nós queremos poder. Sim. Vocês estão exigindo de nós entrar no poder. Nós também queremos entrar no poder. Sim. Nós todos vamos marchar. Sim.
International Relations Minister Ronald Lamola is leading a South African delegation to Mpumalanga, and he'll be meeting there with his Mozambican counterparts. Now, this bilateral engagement is about discussing the political upheaval in Mozambique. That country has been plagued by unrest following disputed results of the October the 9th elections. Post-election violence there has affected movement at the Lebombo border post, which we have been reporting on extensively and will continue to do so. Here's Ngobile Madlala with the latest on that story. So we've been talking about the need for diplomatic escalation in this, Ngobile, to be able to answer a number of questions that will ultimately result in the return to normalcy in that country, but also on operations where you are. What's the latest from your vantage point?
Yes, Imana, very important engagement between government, and very importantly so because these are the two governments from the different countries that are currently affected. You will remember that South Africa is the largest producer of chrome, and this affects directly the chrome and the coal industry, with about 53% of chrome that we export through to Maputo city harbour. Now, this unrest within the area of Mozambique affects the country's trade, especially when it comes to those kind of minerals and others really around nickel, cobalt and so on. So this engagement needs to come with a way to basically explain what is the way forward for South African companies that rely on that Maputo harbour, but also for South African companies that have to send their drivers up to Lebombo Bridge and they find themselves in a way open to anything that could happen to them. I want to bring in now my guest to speak to us, of course, about these engagements that have started. Crispin, just to start off, could you tell us who's here today? We have noticed that a couple of ministers have come in.
Yes, we have the Minister of Defence, Transport and the Minister for Trade and Industry and Competition, as well as our Border Management Authority, some other senior officials from the security cluster, and of course the delegation is led by Minister Lamola.
Crispin, it's obviously a very delicate matter, especially because this directly affects us as the largest producer in the world. What does this mean for South Africa, and how important then are the answers that are going to come out here?
Yes, Mobile, quite correctly that we are affected at a bilateral level. We've seen how trade has been affected. We've seen how this had an economic impact. So it's quite important for this meeting to get to the heart of the logistical issues that are affecting the Rosina Gasa side, so that from our Limbombo side, we're able to process as much as possible the people who are coming through, and the cargo and all of the issues that we are required to go through customs to be processed as smoothly as possible. But also at the level of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, it is an opportunity to have that level of engagement and consultation with his counterparts around what the dynamics are and how they see it. As we know that the 23rd of December is when we do expect the Constitutional Council to pronounce itself. In fact, they've already made such pronouncements to the media and have informed the Mozambican people why it has taken so long thus far. And we will continue to reiterate our message that the institutions in Mozambique must be given a chance to resolve whatever disputes are in place to enable them to come to a conclusion of their electoral process. But what's important from this meeting, we look forward to having a consolidated cooperative plan from both sides of government, on the Mozambican side and the South African government, around the logistical challenges that we're currently experiencing as a result of the unrest sometimes in Mozambique.
It's not as easy, though, is it? Because we know from the Mozambican side, it's a political struggle or a tussle between the two political parties. And the government of the day is also the one that is currently questioned by the other political party. It's not just as easy to just come to those decisions, right?
Well, on the logistical elements, yes, it's possible because they have the responsibility. So it's a question of how do we cooperate and how do we ensure that we're able to facilitate what we can facilitate from our side, from a security point of view, from ensuring that cargo is able to cross over. So that is a logistical issue and administrative almost in nature. Whereas we speak of the political issues, that's where we say the Constitutional Council must be given space to do its work. And we do trust that the Mozambican will believe in the outcome of their own electoral processes. By way of example, Ngobile, here in South Africa, if we had a dispute in an electoral outcome, the IEC would be given the full space to adjudicate whatever disputes there are and come to a decision around those disputes. It's the same in Mozambique. We expect that that process applies itself, and whatever process that their legislation allows them to take up to ensure that they have fully expressed their concerns and their grievances, and they feel that these grievances are fully addressed with, we should encourage that. But what we are completely discouraging is violence, in the same way here at home as well. You know, we wouldn't want someone to burn a library because you don't have water. That type of situation is something that we're dealing with. So we're saying that we would like them to follow their processes to the letter, and thus far there's an indication that those processes are still underway.
And lastly, can we then expect that the minister at some point will have engagement with other countries like China? Because we know that this chrome, most of it is destined to China and Asian countries. Is this engagement only going to be with Mozambique, or later on with those at the end of the deliverance of that chrome?
Well, these engagements are always ongoing, particularly at a trade level, because there are various levels to this trade, right? One of the things that we are looking at as a South African government is actually having a process where we beneficiate this chrome, that it actually leaves South Africa as a finished product, not as in the current form as a raw material. So those discussions are ongoing at various levels. To the extent that this process is hampering trade with other counterparts of the world, these are exactly what this meeting will look at how do we undo these logistical challenges that impede trade.
Crispin Piri, thank you very much for speaking to us. Well, Iman, those engagements are happening right behind us. We have seen quite a lot of officials, as he was explaining, Minister of Defence arriving here, various also delegations that are led by the Premier in the province as well, in terms of the MECs as well, that are currently affected. You'll remember that community safety has been also in the forefront in ensuring that there is law enforcement as well on the ground that is assisting at the border. But will it then come up with answers? That's the question, because the 23rd is, yes, around the corner. But